Yo YouTube, welcome back to week 4 of the LLL, the Ubers UU Draft League that has been going on, blah blah blah, you guys know the drill. Today we are diving into 5 matches, 1 match of Pool A not being played yet, and the one big juicy recap at the end. You guys know the drill, and I'm just gonna dive in like I said with the first match being Fishy Roads versus Ice, LS, sorry. It's ice versus fire, it's hill versus snow, but it was just a matter of time before Fishy got his things together. It was just a matter of getting that Torkoal momentum, Torkoal being slower of course, winning the weather war because of it, and then Charizard, yeah, the OP Charizard, the OG Dragon, actually did so much work this week, and lots of weeks it didn't actually do anything. And this week it just showed up, got 4 kills, super important for the match. It ended in a 5-0 win because of the dominance of Charizard. So it was just a matter of time of, like I said, getting the right momentum. Ninetales dying because of rocks would have really sucked. So that's the reason why Alice couldn't win the weather war anymore. It was just a matter of getting the Torque momentum right and getting Charizard to kill all the mons, kill everything. It's a 4-0 like I said. And from the weather war we go into a match that was all about early game momentum for Leo Justice. Grafai actually putting a lot of work, trying the momentum around everything, being able to chip down Bronzong, but after the bell went down, it rang in a new era of Zacian dominance. Zacian really showing up this week, getting 6 kills because of the cool subset. Leo had absolutely nothing for it at that time. Even Dugong, the king of all Pokemon, could not stop the reign of terror for Zacian. Yeah, Sub was such a good bring, just preventing Spore or any status of whatsoever. With the SD, being able to break everything, even if Delano would go for Intimidate drops time after time. It was just a matter of getting the Zacian in at the right time, and yeah, like I said, after the Zong died, it was a perfect time, and it ended in a 5-0 win for Volt Ninja and that Zacian. Though shout out to the crit on close combat on Magear, now they kinda really threw a wrench in any possible way of Leo getting back in the game, so that sucked. And now we are moving on to Asbab with another win. Asbab really picking up momentum in the last few weeks. It was a 4-0 win, if I do believe. Yeah, it was a 4-0 win. And it was mainly because even though Excalibur tried to break early with that Corviknight, it was a very interesting set. It was, I believe, weakness policy, power trip. It was super cool to see, but it was just not enough to break through a thick team that Asbab has. And after everything was chipped down, Gouging Fire could really clean up, nuke with, I believe, Heat Crash. Yeah, it was absolutely a matter of time, and in this case, it was just a matter of time before they got the chance to actually do something against it. They knew the Corviknight wouldn't be able to break the entire team. So it's just a matter of, okay, when is the right time for the Gouging Fire to break? And yeah, they smelled the opportunity and they actually went away with the 4-0 win. And then we head into a match where even though Jirachi did not para on any of its body slams, it wasn't needed. Yeah, Creator knew to overthrow Random Creep, even without the paras. It was just mainly a game of when do I set up hazards. They kind of knew that Random Creep didn't have the best form of hazard removal, and that was a way to really seize opportunity when it presented itself. Good spike set, good, especially the Toxic Spikes were really good, knowing that there were a lot of mons that are usually a bit tanky, but for example, Gastro being poisoned, Rillaboom if it was brought being poisoned, Raging Bull being poisoned, that was very good to chip down the team, and the hazard game was especially... yeah, it was great. And another shout out to Lugia. Lugia really showing up for, I believe, really the first time. I feel like this is the first week where Lugia really made a difference. It's surprisingly speedy, it can pick off mons, it doesn't die to anything. So that endgame versus Urshifu. Urshifu was a very cool set with the Koba Berry, I believe. Yeah, it didn't matter because Creator knew that they just had to play cool, calm, and collected. and they were gonna win in the end. So it was a very clean 2-0, very calculated win for Creator of Some. And now we head into the game of the week. Yes, we are talking about Nebula versus 2x Flying. And without further ado, let's introduce the teams.
2x Flying has a Kyurem, White, Ogrepon, Kingambit, Gengar, Tinkaton, Tatsugiri, Scyther, Torterra, Hariyama, Zapdos G, and Yenfu, while Nebula has Palkia-O, Kyurem, Scizor, Azu, Magalola, Comfey, Brambleghast, Politoed, Barraskewda, Kilowattrel, and Gligar.
Another thing to note is at this given moment, Nebula is pretty much confirmed for playoffs. I feel like she needs one more win. So it's a very possible way for her to get the playoffs is to winning this match. So there might be a little bit of pressure on them. While 2x Flying were kind of rough with the first 2 weeks being losses, week 3 still not being played. So if they want to make playoffs, they have to start winning, and they have to start winning fast. So a lot of pressure might be on the shoulders of these players. But another way for Nebula to exude pressure is that Rain, of course. Rain being a very prominent way for her to win matches. And Rain doesn't even look that bad versus 2x Flying either. Not having a very good grass type. Okay, I see a Scyther and I see an Ogrepon, but neither of those really tank anything from water attack. It's neutral against both of them, and just looking at the squad, there is not a lot that can tank water attacks in general. Kyurem White, yes, but it does die to Palkia-O's Dragon type move. So Rain is very, very prominent this week. I don't see anything other than Rain coming out from Nebula's side. So I'm probably gonna see a Palkia, a Kyurem to actually combine with it very nicely. Kyurem does not have the worst matchup in the world. Something like a Berry set could actually put in a lot of work. So I expect Palkia-O, Kyurem, possible Scyther from Momentum, either Gligar or Scizor. I see an Azu. I see Politoed, of course. I see that typical Rain core, and that's something that 2x Flying might just struggle with. And on 2x Flying side, the Iron Wundles. The Iron Wundles are probably gonna pull up with that Kingambit. I see something like an AV Kingambit or a what's it called? The Fighting Resist Berry. I see that coming out. I do see an Ogrepon just because it does offensively match up very nicely. I might see a Gengar just a Scarf Gengar might just not be the worst bring in the world. Although they do have a Magalola, but I could also see a Tinkaton as a just general tanky mom to glue it all together. Zapdos G does not have the worst matchup in the world either, so they do have very possible ways to win. Another mon I do want to highlight is Thick Fat Hariyama. It's actually not the worst mon in the world this matchup either. So I see 2x Flying going a little bit for a bulky set, a bulky team to kind of take the impact, and when Rain runs out, trying to maneuver their way back in the game. But that way back in the game, I don't know what it is exactly. I feel like that has to be the Ogrepon, something like an SD Ogrepon when the Rain is gone, and Barraskewda is slowed down or something like that. So I'm slightly favoring Nebula on this match, but I see a lot of possible ways for 2x Flying to actually maneuver around that Rain. And without further ado, I'm just gonna jump into the match. Yeah, we're looking at the lineup, and the mons that I did expect were gonna be brought. Gengar not showing up though, don't know why, but we do see a Draco coming out on that Azu right now, and Tinkaton being the answer to that Azu. Tinkaton in general just being a bulky mon, but not specially, it is specially defensive, it's not physically defensive, so it goes down here to the Jet. Azu revealing that it's not a Bandit, didn't expect it to be. I think AV makes way more sense. Going for the play rough on the Ogrepon, not thinking too much from it, but do forcing a switch out. And I love the double for 2x Flying here. They expect that a mon like Kyurem could easily come out as an answer to that Ogrepon. Either that or a Gligar would have come out, I think. And just going into that Hariyama really shows a dominant read. But it's not Thick Fat, it's actually Guts, which I didn't see coming. Going for the Iron Head with the crit, that's a lot of damage on the Gligar. Gligar, yeah, slowly and surely not being able to respond to his Zapdos, for example, anymore. Politoad has to come in and tank a hit. And does it tank it comfortably? No, not really. Zapdos really hits hard, but it hits hard back as well. Zapdos is winning this exchange, so I expect a switch out for Politoad right here, and so does 2x flying. That's a Hariyama. That's something that is gonna nuke anything that comes out, so don't know what wants to come in. Palkia is gonna catch that Iron Hand. Iron Hand, that actually hit a lot, even with being a resist, so Guts really showing up this week. Surf on the Kyurem, able to tank that and retaliate with a freeze dry. Palkia meeting an unfortunate and revealing that Kyurem was a Scarf set. That's a pretty obvious bring, but you know, it could have been another set, of course. But Kyurem picking up that kill, but forcing a switch out. Close combat on the Barraskewda. Damn, that crit mattered, otherwise it would not have killed. That's a confirmed thing, or it had to be a very high roll or something. So Barraskewda, I believe 2 weeks in a row with a very important clutch crit. Yeah, Barra, you're nasty, dude. You're nasty. But Kingambit coming out now, not fearing a close combat, for example, knowing that a sucker would have killed. So Kingambit being forced out, doesn't want to think of EQ. Zapdos does, and Zapdos has an opportunity to clean up this Gligar, though it needs 2 hits, and in those 2 hits, rocks can go up, really pressuring that Kyurem and that Ogerpon, both not being boots. Yeah, Ogerpon not being able to run boots in general. Kyurem picking off the Zapdos, showing that it might be Scarf itself, but at this point, Kingambit can come in, and something has to take either an Iron Head or a Kowtow, and Kowtow comes in on that Froggy. Froggy dies. Very sad Froggy moment. Azu being able to capitalize on it, Liquidation probably going out right here, and it does do a lot of damage, killing that Ogerpon in the process. Go neck and neck on this point. Kyurem knows that a Freeze Dry is gonna threaten anything that goes. Yeah, that's 83%, that's a hell of a lot of damage, but that crit is not to be ignored, because now it might be in Sucker Punch range from that Kingambit, and now it's the question, who's gonna win this exchange? Is it going to be a Sucker Punch, or is it going to be an Aqua Jet? Do you predict the Aqua Jet? Though potentially they don't even have Aqua Jet. So it is a really mind game. Azu does not always run Aqua Jet, so who goes for what? That's the question. Does Kingambit go for the Sucker Punch or not? And it does go for Sucker Punch. But the insanity is actually in the chat right now, which I can show. Apparently they were the exact amount, the same amount of speeds. 136 both. So that was an absolute speed tie. That was an absolute 50-50. Which is insane, bro. This match was decided on a 50-50 probably. Which is bonkers to think about. Kingambit picking off that mon right there. Kyurem going for the Earth Power. It does not crit. So that leaves Kyurem in the grave. And Barraskewda, does it have Aqua Jet? No, it does not have Aqua Jet. So Sucker Punch kills that Barraskewda. And that 50-50 versus the Azu decided the entire game. I know some people say like, oh, Kyurem should have went for Ice Beam to try to freeze. No, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna discuss about that. It was mainly just a very, very interesting turn of events that those mons were, the Azu and the Bish, were exactly 136 speed each. Insanity that speed time mattered so much. But it's a 1-0 victory for 2x flying, picking up their first win, and potentially Iron Wundles trying to climb their way back into a playoff spot. Nebula still very comfortably in the playoffs right now. As I'll pull up the standings right now, we see people like Nebula, Volt Ninja, Asbab. You know, they are comfortable in that position. Random Creep, even though they lost this game, still kind of comfortable. PTK still has to do their match versus Delta, so that might take some time. I do want to highlight that Leo Justice. Before this tournament was kind of like, oh, that's a very dominant name. They're probably gonna do a lot of damage. Now they kind of grew into the underdog, but I know the way they cooked in week 1 and 2. They can come back, bro. they can easily come back. So it's still not. I don't think that any of these players have confirmed that they're in playoffs or are out of playoffs just yet. I think anything can happen at this point, and that's well reflected in the standings. And with that being said, I still have to do the mod of the week. And I don't think anyone is gonna hate me when I say that Charizard is gonna be that mon of the week. It really showed that once it is in the sun, it can wreak so much havoc. 4 kills in this match, well facilitated because of that Torkoal, well played because of Fishy Road. So Charizard, congrats dude, you're the mon of the week. And with that being said, I'm gonna wrap up this recap for week 4 of the LLL Pool A, and I'm gonna head out of here. Peace guys.